and made sure we knew we were loved. But she never left him. Not when he spent all of her inheritance. Not when he controlled every dollar of her paycheck. Not when he called her lazy for resting after working a full shift. I resented her for it. I still do, even though I know now, leaving isn't always as easy as packing a bag and walking out the door. Fast forward, college. I finally snapped. During one of his legendary screaming fits, I stood up to him. He roared back and I cut him off. For 6 months, I lived in peace. No calls, no visits, just silence. And then I caved. Not for him, for my mom, my siblings. But things didn't change. He still had his iron grip on their lives, and my mom was still crying herself to sleep. Fast forward again. I'm married, I have a baby, a tiny, fragile, perfect baby boy. Suddenly, everything is clearer than it has ever been. And yet, I let my dad near him, just for a while. Just long enough for the same old warnings to flare up. He didn't want to wash his hands. He didn't support my son's head right. He fell asleep holding him. And then, the final straw. One night, my husband and I left my son with my mom while we went to a movie. My dad wasn't even supposed to be home, and I made one thing crystal clear. He was not to hold my baby. My mom promised. A couple months later, my younger sister 18F broke down and told me the truth. My dad did try to hold my baby. My mom said no. He called her a lazy woman and screamed at her so loudly that my siblings were frozen in fear. My mom cried for a week. I was livid. My dad, the same man who barely raised his own kids, the same man who turned our home into a war zone, had the audacity to throw a tantrum because we set boundaries for our son. Because we wanted people to wash their hands. Because we wanted to protect our child from the same man who once left bruises on my brother and me. So that's it. I'm cutting him off, this time for good. But I know what that means. I know the second he realizes what I've done, he'll make sure my mom and little sister suffer for it. He'll isolate them, keep them from seeing me, make my mom pay for not taking his side. I don't know how to tell them. I don't know how to prepare them. I just know I have to do it, even if it means losing my mom in the process.